My sister's gonna kill me if she finds out I took her brush.
Are you serious?
Ooh, that's my brush. Ooh, that's my brush. My brush. My brush. My brush.
You're just talking.
Oh.
Okay, this new thing in the show this week, it's called Rank 7. What's this all about?
How this process works is Gabe and I rank our top 7 players at each position and then average it out and put it in order for you guys. So first we're going to start with Drew Brees. Moving on, Matthew Stafford, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, and then for 7th we had a tie between Phillip Rivers and Aaron Rodgers, so that's a 7A, 7B deal there. And then each of us went on and made our own next 7 plays. Gabe, what's your next 7 at quarterback?
All right, I got Andrew Luck at 9 versus Houston. Ben Roethlisberger at Buffalo. Eli Manning, lots of passing. Carolina with Cam Newton versus San Diego. I got Cam Newton at 12. Dak Prescott versus the Giants. Kirk Cousins, Washington at Philadelphia, and Carson Palmer at Miami. A little bit of rain there, but it's a great matchup. Miami's pass defense is terrible.
Boom, let's move it down the line. Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, Dak Prescott, Big Ben, Carson Palmer, Kirk Cousins, and Eli Manning. On to running backs we go. Top 7, David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, Ezekiel Elliott, LaShawn McCoy, Melvin Gordon, Matt Forte, if he plays. Well, obviously, if he plays, otherwise he's going to do what Kaepernick did last week. Nothing. And then 7th, we're going to go with Jeremy Hill. And then, Gabe, let's hear your next 7 after that.
All right, I got DeMarco Murray. I think Denver's rush defense isn't as good as you think it is. Devonta Freeman at LA. Lamar Miller at Indianapolis. Jordan Howard, workhorse back. Thomas Rawls, Doug Martin, and Carlos Hyde versus the Jets.
And for my next 7, I have DeMarco Murray first on that list as well, but for a different reason. I think it's because of his consistency. I do think Denver's defense is just as good as you probably think it is. And then I've got Lamar Miller, Jordan Howard, Devonta Freeman, Thomas Rawls, Doug Martin, Jay Ajayi. Moving on to wide receivers, the top 7, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, Dez Bryant, Michael Thomas. Now, Michael Thomas has been banged up this week. If he's 100% ready to go, I love him in that spot. If he's not, Brandon Cooks is a nice slide-in spot there. And then we've got Doug Baldwin, and as low as I'll put Julio Jones all year, 7th, I just like those 6 guys ahead of him just a little bit more. Gabe, who's your next 7?
My next 7, at 8th, I got Larry Fitzgerald against Miami. It's a great matchup. Golden Tate, lots of volume. Brandon Cooks, New Orleans offense, high-powered. T.Y. Hilton, great receiver. Houston, bad matchup. I think it'll balance out. And I got the 2 Denver receivers. I've got Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas against Tennessee's terrible pass defense. And then rounding out my list is my guy, Terrell Pryor. He's going to be your savior this year. Love him.
Mr. Frustration, DeAndre Hopkins, first on my list. It's all because of the matchup there, and he does still have the targets. He's got over 115 targets on the season. Then we've got Golden Tate. If Marvin Jones is out, I love Golden Tate. I might even move him up. If Marvin Jones is in, I still do like him against the Bears. And then we've got Tyrell Williams, who could arguably be in my top 7 with his matchup against the Panthers, and Phillip Rivers loves looking his way. Then we've got Larry Fitzgerald against Miami. If rain's not an issue, I do think Fitzgerald can have a great game there. Brandon Marshall against the Niners. That's all mainly because of the matchup. The 49ers are ranked 30th against wide receivers. Then we've got Jordy Nelson against the Seahawks, and finishing off is T.Y. Hilton against the Texans. Gabe, let's hear your top 7 tight ends.
So tight ends, we just ranked our top 7, each of us. So starting out for me, I got at number 1, Jimmy Graham versus Green Bay. Second, I got Cameron Brate, lots of red zone targets versus New Orleans. At number 3, Tyler Eifert, great matchup against Cleveland this week. Number 4, Zach Ertz, huge shares of targets in that offense. Number 5, Greg Olsen versus San Diego. I think that's a nice matchup for him. Number 6, I like the other tight end in that game, Antonio Gates versus Carolina. Their pass defense is not good. And then rounding out my list, I've got two guys, Darius Green and CJ Fedorowicz. Fedorowicz has a high floor and a lower ceiling. Ladarius Green could go absolutely off or score 2. You never know. Those are my guys.
Well, Gabe, I think you're a good guy, but your tight end rankings suck, mainly because you're missing who could be the best tight end play of the week, but I'll get to that. My first tight end is Greg Olsen, followed by Cameron Brate. I do think that Brate can have a pretty big game against those Saints. And let me elaborate on Greg Olsen real quick. I know he's struggled those past couple of games, but he is the best tight end on that board, and San Diego is a middle of the pack matchup for him. Jordan Reed is third on my list. The fact that you're scraping for CJ Fedorowicz and Ladarius Green, gosh, I can't even say their names because no one ever uses those guys.
Let's do it, man. Hey.
Jordan Reed is much better, much safer than all of them. Then I've got Jimmy Graham, Eifert, Ebron, and Kyle Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. And then Gabe, your top 7 defenses. Let's hear them.
All right, I got Minnesota against Jacksonville. That's a great matchup. Don't have to tell you about that one. Number 2 for me, Cincinnati versus Cleveland. Might be snowing a little bit. Low-scoring games come with snow. 3, I got Arizona at Miami. Not a high-powered offense with Miami. Number 4, I've got Detroit versus Chicago. Chicago's playing a backup quarterback. That's a terrible thing to be doing if you're Chicago. Number 5, I've got Broncos, great defense. Tennessee, not the best matchup, but I think their defense will do fine. Number 6, I got the San Francisco 49ers defense versus the Jets. I think they're at home. I think they are due for a win. I think the Jets have a terrible offense. And then rounding out my list, I've got the Patriots. Belichick coached. Enough said, man.
All right, and then for my top 7 defenses, the Vikings are first. That's easy. Blake Bortles, very turnover-prone. Vikings still a great defense. Then I've got the Arizona Cardinals second against the Dolphins. Going third, Falcons against the Rams. Fourth, Bengals against the Browns because Robert Griffin is not anything like he used to be from the year he was drafted.
Hey, we'll see what happens, man.
And then fifth, we've got the Broncos against the Titans. Sixth, I've got the Jets against the Niners. You've got the Niners against the Jets. Sixth, we'll see which defense does better there. If you need to stream a defense for the week, the Jets are most likely going to be available in your league, and I love it against a quarterback who just threw for 3 yards and then had to switch quarterbacks in the middle of the game because they suck.
So are the Niners.
And then on to my 7th defense of the week, it's the Seattle Seahawks. I don't like the matchup, but I love the defense.
Bing, bang, boom. Okay, who the pays a fantasy bet in all coins?
Someone who's mad that they lost. You're going to break tape.
Yeah, someone who's mad that they lost.
Hey,
that guy.
Only half of that's mine. Cameron lost the bet too.
Yeah, Cameron's an idiot too. You guys are both idiots.
Yeah, and you know what? On our next segment here, we give you our 3 best daily fantasy plays. One with a low price guy under $5,000, a medium price guy, someone between $5,000 and $7,000, and then a high price guy, $7,000 and up. These salaries are based off of DraftKings. Gabe, how about you start us off here with your low price guy, someone less than $5,000?
Sexy Rex Burkhead. 3,500.
Who is Rex Burkhead?
He is the Cincinnati Bengals backup running back. Bernard's he's out, and Burkhead actually outperformed Hill last week. Hill's a little banged up. Lots of running against Cleveland. I like him.
All right, and then your medium price play, $5,000 to $7,000.
I like Stephon Diggs against the Jaguars. They might have some decent cornerbacks, but to score points, the Vikings have to throw to Stephon Diggs. That's how they get first downs in the football game when they play football.
So you like Stephon Diggs to have a lot of catches that game?
Yep, lots of receptions for Stephon Diggs.
Excellent. And then your high price guy?
I gotta go with Odell Beckham Jr. This is his lowest price the entire season, and I really like him against Dallas. They're gonna go to him a lot, and I think he's gonna be loving the big stage.
Yep, Odell Beckham, price lowest of the season at $8,000 there. My low price guy, Cameron Brate. We mentioned him earlier in the show. He's $4,100. This could be a week where you might want to play 2 tight ends. If you like another tight end a lot, then you can put Brate at flex. If you're not a fan of the tight ends this week, then just put Brate at your tight end. My medium price guy is Matt Forte at $6,800. It's back to the whole health thing. If he's 100% ready to go, I love him for $6,800 against a terrible 49ers defense. And then my high price guy is Mike Evans at $8,900 against the Saints defense. I mean, his ceiling is extremely high, and we all know that. But in a game like this against the Saints, his floor has to be really high as well.
This is a very safe play.
So
you gotta have him, man.
Fine, I'll get you payment by noon tomorrow.
Absolute.
We went to 8 banks.
shitheads.
That's actually hilarious.
Here's a segment called Hail Mary. These are the guys that I think are really nice dart throws and just desperation plays if you're trying to get a guy and all your players are injured and you're just trying to throw a guy in there. Starting off, I got Russell Shepard, Tampa Bay wide receiver. He's been hurt for the last couple weeks, and when he's coming back, Vincent Jackson's out. I think he has a nice chance to put up decent production against the Saints this week. My other play is Zach Zenner. He led Detroit in carries last week, and if that continues, he's going to be a great fantasy asset going forward. My third guy is Robbie Anderson. The Jets want to see what they have in this guy. He caught a touchdown last week. I think that's an interesting play. That's a Hail Mary for me. Okay, let's talk about the Rams here for a second.
Okay, what about?
How are they not a front for a criminal organization? They just rehired Jeff Fisher. He's going to be the losingest coach in NFL history.
Here's the thing. If you can break a record as a coach, teams want you.
But I mean, seriously, like think about it. They moved to LA, better market in LA than St. Louis for drugs, obviously. No one's going to suspect a team that's mediocre like the Rams. Patriots, they'll be like, yeah, drugs. Bill Belichick's dealing out of his house.
Yeah. Do you have the balls to start Brandon Marshall in a great matchup against the 30th ranked defense against wide receivers in the San Francisco 49ers? Marshall hasn't done much with Petty under center, but Marshall has the matchup, he has the upside, and he's got the swag. Do you have the balls to start Brandon Marshall? Then my second play of the week for Do You Have the Balls? Brock Coxsweiler. Call him what you want, he's trash. He's averaging 210 yards, something like that per game this season, but he's got a matchup against the Colts, who are ranked 30th against quarterback. Do you have the balls to start Marshall and Osweiler? They're always on their own end of mischief.
They're mischief. What is that?
You don't know, getting into mischief.
Try again.
So now we're going to do our picks of the week. Cincinnati Bengals are going to take on the winless Browns in the return of Robert Griffin III. I'm going to go with the Bengals on this one. Gabe, what do you think?
I got the Browns. It's going to be snowy, and I think that's an equalizer.
Well, it's snowing for both teams. We're just going to put that out there. Bengals. Next game we have Denver Broncos playing the Tennessee Titans. I'm going Denver on this one, Gabe. I think we're going Denver on this one as well.
Agree on that.
Then we've got the Houston Texans taking on the Colts in a divisional matchup. I've got Indianapolis on this one.
AFC South is terrible. Indianapolis is on a winning streak. Indianapolis.
And then we've got the hometown Minnesota Vikings hoping to turn things around against the abysmal Jacksonville Jaguars squad. What do you think?
Minnesota has lost 6 out of their last 7, but I think that they're going to make it back on this one.
I think so too. Then we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Buffalo Bills. We're going to go with the Steelers on this one.
Yep.
Then we've got the Chargers headed to Carolina to take on the defending NFC champions. What do you think on that?
Carolina is real mad because last week it was a shit show. So this week they're going to come back. They're going to tighten things up. Cam Newton, Carolina.
Carolina it is. And then we've got the Washington Racial Slurs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going with the Skins on this one.
I got Philadelphia. I think they're due for a win.
All right, well, I'm going to go Washington, just like I said. Then we've got the New York Jets taking on the 49ers. I'm going Jets on this one. They let me down on Monday Night Football, but I'm going back to the well. At least their quarterback threw for more than 3 yards.
Kaepernick, come back for me. 49ers are going to beat the Jets. They haven't won in a long time, and they're due for a win as well.
And you did tell our viewers last week he would throw 3 touchdowns. We'd like to say he meant 3 yards, correct?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
All right, great. And then we've got the Atlanta Falcons taking on, the Jeff Fisher-led Rams. What do you think about that one?
We're going to go with the Falcons because the Rams are garbage.
Exactly, Falcons it is. New Orleans Saints headed to Florida to play the Bucks. I'm going with the Saints on this one. Drew Brees, he's going to bounce back. He puts his all into everything. They're going to do it.
Speaking of bad calls last week, Drew Brees. And I think Tampa Bay has something to play for. I'm going with Tampa Bay.
All right. Well, Seattle Seahawks playing the Green Bay Slackers. I'm going with the Birds on this one.
Me as well.
All right, and then we've got the Dallas Cowboys playing the New York Giants in what should be a very good Sunday night football game, but we're going to go with Dallas on this one. And then Monday Night Football, we've got the Ravens and the Patriots. Let's not waste your time with that. Patriots.
Count it. Lock it in. Pop, lock, and do whatever you want to it. Jesus.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in this week. And just so you know, for you not so fantasy football lovers, we will have some other segments on this show, other sports, but because it's fantasy playoff time right now, that is the focus. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your brothers, tell your sisters, tell him,
fish.
Tell her.
Okay, all right. Why do you have that? Subscribe!
He goes, I'm gonna write his ass a check, and in the memo put Gabe sucks dick. And I said, why? And he goes, because then he has to explain to the teller what's going on.